front porch is something that ties into the mother, and I really hope that they bring that into the next episode. The episode where Lily is talking about how when she looks at Ted's romantic conquests and tries to figure out whether or not she can break them up, it all depends on if she sees that person sitting on the front porch with them when they're old playing bridge, which another reference to continuity, Marshall is the person who wins bridge.
Except for when Karen plays.
Right. But fuck Karen. I really hope that they show something in regards to that. I don't know if they necessarily need to show them doing the actual sitting on the front porch and playing bridge or whatever, but that would be a nice little tie-in that I could see them doing where, you know, he's done telling the story and the mother, whatever her name is, comes in and just goes like, oh, you ready to come out back and play bridge? That'd be a nice little thing, I think. What do you guys think about that? You want to see the porch, or has it already passed?
I wouldn't mind seeing it, but for most people, it's probably already passed. So I doubt they'll throw it in there.
Yeah, I'd like to see it too, but I agree with that. We all have very strong feelings about this.
Apparently.
Sorry, I was still reading the Murtaugh list and trying to cross off how many things I do on a daily basis.
Well, the Murtaugh list is going to be something that I definitely take away from this show and remember for years and years to come. I'm going to be, 60 and thinking to myself, maybe I should have made a Murtaugh list.
Well, looking at the 14 items that are known to be on the list, I could still do them all, except for number one. Number one, I'm never going to pierce my own ears. I feel like that's just dangerous. You want me to read the list?
I don't think that there's many things out there, but why don't you read the list, throw it out there for anybody else.
Number one is to pierce your own ears. Not going to happen. Number two, crash on a friend's futon instead of getting a hotel room. I've crashed in their tubs. Number three, pull an all-nighter. Just did that in February. 4, laser tag. Yeah, that's not going to give that up. 5, eat an entire pizza in one sitting. Do that all the time. Hang posters on your walls with no frames. I don't want my posters to get destroyed, but I could do that. Do laundry at my mom's house. Still live at my mom's house. Put off going to the doctor. Haven't been in 3 years. Drink shots with strangers. I've bought an entire bar around. Leave an annoying 2-person message on your answering machine. I would never do that just because that's stupid. Help someone move out of a 6th-floor walk-up in exchange for pizza and beer. I have helped people move for pizza and beer. Dye my hair a funny color. I have frosted the tips before. Beer bong every weekend. And go to a rave. I kind of have my own rave in my own bedroom.
Sandstorm.
So
Yep.
So would you say you got the cool guy tips?
Yeah, of course.
You're going to turn yours into the same nightclub from one of the first episodes where you have to just talk in between the different sections of the songs.
I'll do it. Have you met Ted?
That's how I want this to be the introduction, by the way, of how they meet each other.
Oh, that'd be great.
I just want somebody, preferably Barney, to just say to her, have you met Ted? That'd be a great way.
Not even like the whole drug out way. Like, have you met Ted? Just like, have you met Ted? And then just away. Like, oh.
Well, I was thinking they've all met her already. What if they all just collectively realize she's perfect for Ted and they all do the have you met Ted to close it out?
That'd be a good way to combine them all. I like that. Maybe they can include some kind of a duck or a rabbit.
I feel like Barney should see her again, though, before they do that, because didn't they establish that Barney met her like a year ago or something, like a long time ago?
Yeah, I think it was like right around the time, it was supposed to be right around the time where he plots the Robin.
Right, so yeah, I feel like he should see her again to just kind of remember, oh yeah, that I remember her.
Either that or they're going to go, you met whatever her name is, Kimberly Tracy or whatever like that, and he's going to go, boobs? Can't blame him. A character that I really want to see them incorporate, but I don't think that they will, and it's kind of a shame, is Punchy. There's no place for him at this wedding, but if they do some kind of a flash forward, I'd love to see Punchy pop up there.
I could easily see a flash forward to Ted's wedding, just because we've already seen him propose to her. We've seen pretty much everything except their actual wedding and them meeting, so they could be saving both of those things for the finale.
And I don't want to see future Ted, by the way. Do you guys?
I do.
No.
I think I do. Just to see Bob Saget once, even if it was just in a cameo doing something else, just to see him on the show once.
Yeah, like maybe if they show Ted's wedding, have Bob Saget just be sitting there as a guest somewhere.
Well, how do you guys think that they're going to explain the change in voice?
Throat cancer.
Maybe Ted's the one with the terminal illness.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, snap.
He better not. He's gotten shit all this entire life. That would suck. He's like, I finally meet this woman in my dreams, and then they're like, hey, you remember that basal cell carcinoma from the beginning of the episodes? Yeah, well, that's part of your throat. You're going to sound like Bob Saget now for the rest of your life. I kind of want them to just make a joke out of it. He could just kind of be talking and then go, sorry about that, kids, and start talking like normal Ted.
That would be good.
Sore throat today. Like, I've heard a lot of people saying that must mean that he's like going insane or something, or that he's not actually telling the story and it's going to be somebody else, and I don't know.
It just really means that they didn't think the show would last more than a season or two, and they were just like, oh, we can get away with this.
When it comes to the moments that you guys think you're going to look back on the most and either rewatch, because they're really funny ones that you're going to laugh about, or things that maybe taught you a really good lesson, what are some stuff that's really going to be sticking with you? I'll start with Jamie here.
I don't know. I guess not to be like savvy, but like any speech Ted has made on love or meeting people or friendships or life in general, I think those are the moments that I'm going to remember, just because I think he gives really great advice, and those are just really quotable things that he says most of the time. I guess comedic-wise, most of Barney's antics are always going to stick out for me, and Marshall too. Anything between Marshall and Ted, like the sword fight and Lily getting stabbed, that sort of thing will always stick out. Those are the things I'm probably going to remember the most.
Robert?
I would say definitely a lot of what Ted has done for all of the women he's tried to be with over the years. I would take away a lot from the Marshall and Lily relationship. But on the comedic side, I think I'm really going to take away a lot of the songs. They have a lot of great music on there, both specifically for the show and a lot of the background music they play.
Bang, bang, bangity bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
And the suit song.
The suit. I like Two Beavers Are Better Than One. I think that's probably one of their best.
I always loved Murder Train. I actually used that for a ringtone for people for a while. But you can't really be like in a situation and have Murder Train go off and not look weird. So
why didn't Foreskin play at the wedding?
Foreskins? God, I love that name. That's so perfect for that. Ronnie, what are you going to take away from the show?
I mean, as far as the comedic side, some of my answers are already taken, like the Suits song. I just love that song. The Cock a Mouse, that just sticks with me. I'm just kind of drawing a blank. I can't, as far as more emotional stuff, I can't really think of specifics off the top of my head right now. Just in general, I just love it all. I know that's so cliched and boring, but
Dace?
Well, when it comes to like the comedy side, it's the Bro Code. I have the book. It's fantastic. The Playbook. I have that book as well. It's fantastic. The Slap Bet. been trying to get people to engage me in it, but they just don't want to because they know they'd lose. And when it comes to emotional, it has to be two things. Barney's transformation from he was just an ass clown when we first started, and now he settled down, he's getting married, and he has such a broad range of emotions now, but still is that quirky, funny dude. And every time Ted touches upon the whole we drift apart but we come back together thing, because everybody goes through that. So that's pretty much it.
I can't imagine how many things I've taken from this, and things that I don't even know that I've taken. I mean, I've sort of written down a lot of things from the years, and I can call back to How I Met Your Mother being the start of that. I do refer to myself as future Tony quite a bit. Definitely picked that up from How I Met Your Mother. And I've done so many different things that are quotes from the show that I've incorporated in my normal speech patterns. The whole "what do you do, go," definitely my go-to thing when it comes to, like, here's the situation and how would you go about this. It's just immediately, what do you do, go. I can't help but salute when people do, like, major problem or general recourse or something like that. Definitely do that. Any kind of innuendo, yeah, had to. Have to say that. I've even picked up the right thing that Ted does, and I didn't realize that until rewatching this second time around. Thankfully, I have a better mindset that I don't pick up steak sauce, but that would be really confusing to people. But I have said boom lawyered, and I don't know if there's a list that I can make about everything, because there's just so much. But that's one of my favorite things about the comedy of the show, has been how quotable it's been, and how their situations can tie into what we've seen and can apply to the things that we've gone through, or we can call back to them later on if we haven't gone through them already. As far as the more emotional stuff, Ted and I have a lot of common. I mentioned this before. There's some things that are different, and a lot of times those things that are different make a big difference on certain episodes. I don't drink. Any episode that he has where it revolves around drinking, I don't see any connection whatsoever. But there's a lot of little things that really taught me over the years, as much as you can kind of say, well, it's a TV show, it shouldn't really teach you anything, it's fake. Taught me that my perspective of things doesn't necessarily need to be true or false for it to have an effect on the outside world. And whenever Ted goes through a situation where he kind of argues with himself about stuff and has to let the universe decide and let things just happen to him, I think back to that when I'm in those positions. There's a good quote that they do in one of the episodes where he's struggling with his Mobius designs that I really took to heart, and that's when he's talking to Lily and he says, but I have to be an architect, that's the plan. I'm 100% a planner when it comes to that stuff, and watching this show has kind of given me this sense of hope that things will work out in the end, and even though it is scripted and it doesn't actually have those powers to do that, that you never know, and sometimes you're too hard on yourself, and you really should just kind of let the world decide and figure it all out. There's a couple other quotes that I think are really fantastic that sum up a lot of the show and my opinions about it. I'm going to read two of them real quick. One of them is a pretty recent one. He says, "Here's the secret, kids. None of us can vow to be perfect. In the end, all we can do is promise to love each other with everything we've got, because love is the best thing we do." I guess if you're the sentimental type, you're going to believe in that, and that's one of the reasons why you would like this show. And if you're not, that's going to be that divide where you're just like, oh, this show's too sappy. What the hell? Love's the best thing we do and all that. But for us fans, that resonates. That hits us hard. And another great one that really exhibits how the show can balance the serious and the comedic is the episode when they are trying to figure out the best party in New York for the New Year's Eve. And he just kind of spells it out as reality goes. He says to the kids, you probably want to feel bad for your old man at this point in the story. Well, don't. Not every night has a happy ending, but it's all important. All of it was leading somewhere. So if you're ever feeling upset and all that, those kind of things can get you through it. And that's going to be something I really miss about this show. It's tough when you are a fan of a series and, you know, you get invested into these characters and, you know, you laugh along, you cry along, whatever the case may be, depending on the episode. When it comes to the end of it, you're ultimately building towards the end and you want to see the end of it. We all have been wondering for 9 years now what's going to happen when he meets the mother. But it's bittersweet. And I don't know if you guys think the same thing as I do, but now that we're really at the time where this is the last episode coming in less than 24 hours now, I kind of wish that they would just go, nah, psych, we're going to have season 10. You guys think that? Or are you just kind of like, you know what, it's just end when you want to end and, you know?
Oh, I definitely think that. I think it's ridiculous that as much as I love The Big Bang Theory, they're already on board for 10 seasons, and How I Met Your Mother was skeptical for 9. But I could go definitely a season 10, if not much more than that.
Anyone else think one way or the other?
I would like to see a season 10, just because I enjoyed the show that much that I would love to see that many more stories being told and whatnot, to keep seeing the characters develop. But at the same time, I would worry about how much more you can stretch a storyline at the same time, like to the point where it can get ruined. Just because I've seen so many shows like just try and keep going, and it gets to a point where you're like, all right, it has to come to an end. But I don't know. I feel like with this show, it would also be a completely different story at the same time, just because of the route that they've taken with it and like all their interweaving storylines, and there's always something new being brought up or being shown. I could probably go for a season 10 if it, like, you know, I would have confidence in a season 10. But I don't know. I'm also one of those people that's like, I also like to see a good ending. And I don't know.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I feel like I would like to see a season 10, and that I would like to see the mother kind of interwoven into the group dynamics a little more, just see where, you know, life goes after this big meeting. But at the same time, I want to look back on the show and love it all the way through and not think, okay, seasons 1 through 9, I'll rewatch those all the time, and then season 10 is just kind of there. I don't want it to really turn into a Scrubs type situation where I love the show for so long, and I like a lot about season 9, but that overall I just kind of ignore it. But not to get too far off track here.
No, that's actually the point that I was going to bring up. Because if it turns into Scrubs, then damn it. Scrubs had such a good ending, and then for some reason kept trotting on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try to defend that, Dace?
I loved season 9 of Scrubs, but it shouldn't have been called Scrubs. It should have been its own little thing off to the side because it was really good, but so many people went in with certain expectations, not the expectation that it was brand new. And that's what I think was the downfall of season 9. If Bill Lawrence was given the freedom to do what he wanted to do, calling it Meds and such, I think it could have survived on its own as like a 3 or 4 season show. But don't do it for How I Met Your Mother. I think that was
You know what, though? With How I Met Your Mother, I have a stronger connection to that than Scrubs. I mean, I do love Scrubs. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, but it's nowhere near in comparison to How I Met Your Mother. If they were to tell me that they were going to just do a series that has a spin-off and it was about just Barney or just Ted or whatever, I would be totally down for that. I'm even, as much as I don't think I'm going to like it, I'm even going to check out How I Met Your Father or How I Met Your Dad. Which one is it called?
I think it's your dad.
It's Dad, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to go well. I think it's going to turn into kind of a Scrubs thing, but
it's gonna go back to the expectations. Fans are going to expect How I Met Your Mother, and they're going to get something completely different. And
they're going to expect that 70s show and get that 80s show.
Exactly.
I think that might be the last scene that we see of this show, by the way. I think there might be some kind of a reference. Maybe she moves in, the lead character of How I Met Your Dad, maybe she moves into the old apartment, and the last shot is her saying, like, I don't know, hey, or something like that. And it just kind of goes on from there, if they want to do it that way. But that'll probably be the last thing that we talk about on this podcast. If you guys want to call in, remember, last chance here, 760-512-7247. When it comes to the finale, what do you guys hope is the very end, the final cap-off of the whole thing? I don't want to necessarily see that be the end of it. I really just want to go with everybody is alive, there's no death scenario, and they're all just happy, and they're all sitting in MacLarens. The end. That's what I want to see. Ronnie?
I would love to see that too. I think I've heard though that Carter Bates, Craig Thomas, they've said they've had pretty much the last 10 minutes roughly planned out for years, like almost since the beginning. So that just kind of makes me wonder. I honestly have no idea where they're gonna go, but I'm sure it'll be interesting, possibly heartbreaking. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's much more hilarious than heartbreaking, but there'll probably be a nice balance of both.
There's not going to be a scene where it's like, it turns out that the mother is actually dead, and the reason Ted is telling this story is because he's going to do a murder-suicide pact.
That'll be on the DVD.
Alternate ending.
That'll be post-credits, like in the Avengers movies and stuff.
Or it'll just fade to black. Hey, Dad, what are you doing with that gun? And it just fades to black.
With Don't Stop Believing playing in the background.
Robert, how do you want it to end?
Oh, when I came up with the name for this, it's because that's the last thing I wanted to hear on the show was Last Call, and they're all singing at the bar, and that's my dream scenario. I do think we're going to end up with something really heartbreaking as far as the mother. I hope not, because I don't think, while this show has taken a lot of elements from indie comedies, and they do have a layer of darkness to them, I think for a sitcom on CBS that would be a little too much. And I think ultimately they're going to go with the mother may not be alive, but she loved you kids, blah blah blah, try to make a happy ending out of something heartbreaking. But if I had my way, it would just be they're all sitting around at the bar, everyone's with their soulmate, last call, and that's how you end it.
I hope that it's not last call as a toast to the dead mother. That'll be heartbreaking.
Then I might actually be in tears.
Oh,
I'm
I'm
not
going
ready
to
to
be
start
crying my eyes
yet.
out. I know it. I'm going to be crying my eyes out from probably scene number 2. What the hell? I'll probably take a picture of it and put it on the review that I'll be doing. Be like, see? Look at us crying. Like,
You'll be crying once you realize it's the last time you'll hear that theme song for a new episode.
right.
I'm sorry.
Jamie, how do you think that it should end?
I also thought it would probably end at the bar and have it be I don't know, the end, the title of this podcast kind of made me think of that, have it be Last Call MacLaren's, or have them leaving and the camera zoom in on the empty bar, just because I feel have them leaving and whatnot. I don't know how I would feel about the mother ending up being dead. I think I would probably end up crying more so for Ted than anything else. I really hope they don't take that route. But I hope it ends on a much lighter note than that. I'm not quite sure, though.
Dace?
I've got 2 theories. The first theory is they're all at a church for the wedding, and then Marshall's dad appears and puts his hand on their shoulders and goes, "It's time." And they all stand up and they walk to a light, and everybody in the world is severely disappointed because it's just like Lost. Or they're all brought to trial because of all this ridiculous stuff they've done, and they all go to jail.
Or it all turns out to be inside the mind of some kind of an autistic kid. They pull a Saint elsewhere.
They wake up on the set of 2.5 Men, and the entire time it was Charlie Sheen on a bad trip.
What's his name? He wakes up and the whole thing turns out to be a dream. Dallas. The Dallas thing with in the shower. Patrick Duffy's in the shower the whole time. And that's why he's been narrating it. Turns out Patrick Duffy is Bob Saget.
Yeah, it takes place in the house in San Francisco, and he goes, Michelle, that's how I met your mother, but she's dead.
Or you find out that the whole time it was just a story based on characters in Ted's life, but he switched them around like a Roseanne type of thing.
He's actually Barney. He's been really subtly telling these kids, like, all these other people could be their mothers.
Yeah, Jesse is Barney, Joey is Marshall. Throwing this stuff out there. Michelle is non-existent. She died in the womb.
By the way, the mother is dead. That would make it 2 sitcoms for Bob Saget with dead wives.
That's true.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Poor Bob Saget.
He's killing them. He's not poor Bob Saget, poor women.
Well, tomorrow is the final episode titled Last Forever. Everybody's going to be watching that. Everybody's going to be laughing and crying and having fun, hopefully not getting too depressed. But even though that's Last Forever, this podcast can't last forever. As we know, nothing good happens after 2 a.m., and we're getting closer to that point right now. So we're going to wrap this up here by going around in a circle one last time to plug other things that we have going on, some shows to check out for, so on and so forth. Dace, up to you.
Okay, follow me on Twitter at the Dace Man. Check me out Wednesday nights here on Mega Powers Radio for the Dace Man Show. Also, April 13th is the debut of the For Real Movie Club, where we break down Mel Brooks films. And just check out everything I'm writing on fanboysanonymous.com.
Ronnie?
I've currently got nothing in the pipeline just because it's such a busy, stressful time with school. So I'm just going to plug Fanboys in general. Everyone check out Fanboys Anonymous. A lot of great people doing great things. So just keep it there.
Jamie?
Kind of with Ronnie on that one. Been busy with school, so kind of ditto on that. Fanboys, I've been keeping up with that, and I feel like people should definitely check it out. It's got cool stuff. A lot of stuff on comics and just nerdy stuff altogether.
Robert?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice. That's DudeFelice. And there you can find links to my alternative t-shirts site that I'm doing, and stick to Smark Out Moment, where I've been covering the wrestling TV shows, and I'm going to be writing articles and all that good stuff, and hopefully more to come in the future.
Alrighty, guys. It's been mentioned before, fanboysanonymous.com and megapowersradio.com, which we were doing this on tonight, and we do all of our special episodes. All the other programming on Mega Powers Radio that you can check out. Remember, we have Nerd Court is going to be coming up soon. We've got pretty much every day of the week is going to be covered, so you have no excuses. You can always find some time to check something out. And we're always going to have a review of this upcoming Last Forever episode, both episodes in one, since it's a two-parter. That's going to be up tomorrow, so if you don't want to know what happens, don't check that out. But after you know and you're ready to be spoiled, make sure you check out the review that I'm going to be writing up there. And remember, kids, as Barney said, whatever you do in this life, it's not legendary unless your friends are there to see it. So big thanks to everybody who joined in on this little podcast that we had going on here. I hope everyone enjoys the finale tomorrow night. Thank you guys for listening. 1 ticket to Farhampton, please. See you next time, everybody. No tomorrow.